Yeah.
Screening at the Nova Cinema from April 8th to the 15th, as part of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, is a film called Hands Up, Who'd Like a Hug? And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the writer-director of that film, Mick Connolly. Mick, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me about this comedy film. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, look, I've been trying to make a film for a long time. I'm 64 now, but I've since I left film school some 30 something years ago, I've been trying to make a film and I've had ups and downs, th times when it looked like it was going to happen and it didn't. And that's just been going on. And I just got to a point where I thought, well, I just need to make this myself. I need to make this happen. So I decided I was going to just self-fund it and shoot on iPhone and just gather in my network. And firstly, I had to write a story that was possible to write for the budget that I had. And look, that was really the inspiration for the story was really practical boundaries, really, to start off with. And then I came up with a story that I really liked and developed it from there.
Okay, well, let's explore that a bit further because it's an amusing story of friendship, which can go a bit askew. And let's talk about that. How did that develop into a screenplay for you?
Well, really, like I said, I practical boundary started. So I thought I'm going to make this story around my neighborhood, and who knows where ideas come from, I guess, but I just came up with this idea of a guy with no friends who decides to sober up a homeless drunk and try and turn him into a friend. There's lots of homeless people around the corner from my place, so maybe that just subbed it got into my head somehow, but that's where it started. And then as I started to write, I came up with another couple of guys who were also having friendship problems, and the drafting process took place.
Okay, did it take a while to do several redrafts? Because obviously writing the screenplay is always not an easy task.
Yeah, it took me a year to write the first draft, and then I probably spent another 6 months redrafting, getting feedback from people, and redrafting it. So yeah, it took 18 months to get to a place where I decided, okay, now it's time for me to go out and start going into pre-production.
Okay, very good. Now
Yeah,
let's talk about casting because that's such an important aspect, including good to see Don Bridges there. Tell me about the
yeah.
the various people that you were able to cast and how all that went.
Well, look, it was to start off with a good mate of mine, my best mate. He's a casting director, and he really was pretty negative about my chances of getting good people to start off with. He sounded out some agents, and he said they're just not going to help you. They're really you've got no money, and so you're going to get like extras. But I really didn't. I didn't sort of heed that advice because I just thought there would be young people, young actors who didn't have a foothold in the industry yet, who would jump at the chance to do a feature film. They're not on the table yet to have a role in a feature film. So, and I was right about that. There were some great young people. I was worried about the older actor that turned into Don Bridges coming aboard. But initially, I didn't have Don. I had another actor that I had worked with years for years. He'd become a mate, and he said he would do it, but he had to pull out 3 weeks before the shoot. So I was worried. But I had a friend who's a casting agent, and she had just started representing Don. And Don's amazing. He read the script. He the day I gave it to him, and he got back to me, and he just said, "I'm in." So that was a real coup for us, and he really was a great leader for the rest of the young cast as well.
Okay. Tell me about the shooting process. It was shot around Melbourne. How did that work? And was the script sort of somewhat developed or improvised as you were shooting?
No, I decided that we wouldn't improvise. I wanted to be locked down because we shot it in 16 days.
Ah,
And so we had 172 scenes to shoot in 16 days.
mm.
And we only had a crew of five. There were me and my good friend James Grant, who lit the film, and three student interns. So we were very sort of under understaffed, if you like. So I decided we had to really shoot quickly. So we did some rehearsals. We had about 3 days of rehearsals, and all the improvising we did then, and then we locked it in. And then really, when we shot, we just went in and rehearsed. I had the blocking all worked out, the shots all worked out, and we actually just did it. And it had to be that way for us to get through it, really, because we just wouldn't have got it done. Everybody had day jobs. Everybody had to finish at a certain time. So we basically shot 4 days a week, and then everybody went and did their jobs 3 days a week, and we did that for 4 weeks, and everybody was done. So I think being that organized really made this work.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Yeah.
the use of locations. I noticed the Inkerman Hotel is credited and the houses you used and all of that. How did all that work?
Well, I decided my house had to be the main location. So so we probably shot 60% of the movie in my house. And my wife and daughter were very, very good to me. They moved to an Airbnb because part of it was I had to move all the furniture out of my house.
Ah,
So for that character, because he's a character who doesn't have anything. So that was, and that made it easy for art direction as well. That was sort of something I thought about. So that also became a hub for the movie because we ate there, all the props were there, all the costumes were there. That's where all the gear was. We charged batteries, all that did data. So really, it made it very streamlined. That everybody was meeting at my house every shoot day, and they could get dressed there. Everybody knew exactly what they were going to do, and all the other locations, bar a couple, were within walking distance of my house. So there's another house that's 3 doors up. My neighbours, they were really good to me. I originally asked them for one night and one day, but that turned into 3 nights and 2 days. So they were great to me. And the pub is within walking distance. They just gave me that time. The rest of it is streets and parks around my house. The only other locations that we had to pay for and drive to were the hospital, the Alfred, was a scene in the Alfred, and we went up to Pentridge. So yeah, keeping it, I just decided everything had to be that way, again, so that you're not spending shoot days driving to locations or unpacking or any of that sort of stuff. Um, and it was good too because, just with wardrobe, for example, like I said, everybody wardrobe themselves, all the actors, we didn't have a wardrobe person. So they just brought all their own clothes to my house and before the shoot, and then was a big board, and we wrote down what clothes they had to have in what scenes, and they looked after themselves, which was brilliant, and it just made having that hub made it really easy.
okay. Plus, also, you used some police cars, and I gather not actual police officers.
Oh no, I did hire a couple of police uniforms. No, that's all the minor roles are really friends and family, and those two cops are just mums from the school gate from my
Ah,
door. So yeah, yeah. So I had to I just tried to go through the people I knew and go, oh yeah, you'd be good for that role, and you'd be good for that role because there's only so many people you can pull in for no money. So, and I think they all did a great job. But yeah, we got a police car. Look, I've been doing commercials for years, so I have a little bit of a network. And I didn't know the guy Rob, who owns it. That's a movie police car, and he just came for a couple of nights for a few $100s, and I did ask him how much he charges. Just told me you don't want to know. Just I'll give it to you for a few $100s. So yeah, he came and did yeah, two whole big long nights with us for that money, which was great.
well done on all that. That's well put together. I'm quite intrigued. What were some of the challenges using iPhone as your device to shoot the film? Because James Grant, as we've already mentioned, is the cinematographer.
Yeah. Well, James, like I said, James, I operated because it just meant that we didn't have a split or anything like that. It was so the camera was my split, and he lit, and that really worked for us. Look, challenges. It was pretty good. Sometimes because the screen's so small at night, it was getting focused sometimes was difficult. We had to
Mm.
reshoot a few things. But look, mostly I just thought it was fantastic. I mean, I actually fell in love with iPhone filmmaking, and we shot an iPhone 13. And look, what you can get now, like from 15 plus to through to 17, is it's probably doubled in quality. So It's fabulous. But what I really loved was the because we were shooting in public a lot of the time. For like the pub, for example, we couldn't afford to shut the pub down and get extras in and do it properly. We just had to shoot while the pub was open. And so your footprint's so small that you can get stuff that would be very difficult with a big unit. Like, just going inside the bar to shoot some shots of your characters while the barmaids are working. You're basically in there. It's just you and your phone. You don't need a tripod, and you've got a big camera, and you need a camera assistant. None of that would have worked while people were trying to work there. So that was great. We got on a tram, and we just literally got on a tram, me and two actors, shot a shot, and got off at the next stop. It's not like you just can't do that with a proper crew. So in terms of being really quick, and a little bit invisible in public, so you sort of get free extras because people aren't aware that you're filming sometimes.
Uh-huh.
That was great.
Oh, well
Yeah.
done on all that. That worked well.
Yeah.
T Tell me about the music that's in the film. Is a lot of that found music? How did that work?
Well, I didn't couldn't afford a composer, so I literally found a website where I got the tracks. So they're all library tracks. So
Uh-huh.
I think I spent $2,000 and I think there's like 55 tracks that we ended up using. So it was really good value way to do it. It's a $40,000 budget, this movie.
Hmm.
So so that was a great way for us to do it.
Okay. And let's talk
Yeah.
about yeah, and let's talk about the editing process because that's always a difficult task when you have all your completed scenes together.
Yeah. Well, again, I was lucky. I had just from commercials, I had an editor, Michael Houlihan, who jumped in to do it with me. So not unpaid as well. So Huli and I have worked a lot in commercials. We work really well together. So that collaboration's great. Um, but look, he did a lot of prep work. We wanted to, or I wanted to make sure that um, I wasn't wasting his time. I was very conscious of people were doing this for free, so I can't be doing. I didn't think the edit was going to be about restructuring and reshooting and rethinking and all that sort of stuff. I decided that I was going to edit the script I wrote. So I did a lot of time on the script, and I thought, okay, this is the movie we're making. So really, we went to the country for a week and broke the back of it, and our process was basically he would, pop up the scene, all the takes, the shots, and say which takes do you like? I'd say these ones. I'd leave, he'd cut it, I'd come back and do my changes, and we go on to the next scene. And there were
Mm.
days when we would cut 15 scenes a day.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we were and then it didn't really change enormously. And we didn't start with scene one and just go sequentially through. Some days we get up and say, let's start on scene 80 today. That's so we did that. And at the end, we just put it all together and watched it. And um, really, it worked from that first put together. And then we just started doing drafts of tightening and tightening and tightening it. So there wasn't any fat in it. And yeah, we were pretty happy with the result. It was a 130-page script, and we got an 88-minute movie. So
Mm.
we really tried to keep it nice and tight, which I think is funnier.
Yes, yes. No, well done on that because comedy is always so difficult to pull off, especially in film. And yes, keeping it tight and getting all the key lines that you want are so important. So well done on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, this line does come up later in the film, Hands Up, Who'd Like a Hug. What made you decide to use that as the title of the film?
We did have another title, a working title. I never liked it, but then I just thought, and we just sort of go, oh, went through what could it be, what could it be, and then we watched it, and then just that comes up at the climax of the movie, and I just thought, I'm going to call it that. It's
Hmm.
just as simple as that, really.
Okay. Now, tell me about the process of getting the film seen because it's part of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So I don't have this is its very first public showing. So I haven't got a distributor. Um, so Christian Connolly at the Nova, I sent him a link. He loved it. So he said, "Yep, let's got me in," and he said, "Let's put it on." And we were, as we were talking about it, the comedy festival came up, and we decided that was a great place to start, just to make it part of the comedy festival.
Ah,
So we've got 5 screenings there, and then it's a launching pad, hopefully, to do more at the Nova, and then hopefully spread out to get some more theatrical if we can.
okay. Well, good
So
luck on that. Yeah.
yeah, thanks. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it in front of an audience. We've only had
Yes.
two cast and crew. We haven't had two. We've only had two cast and crew screenings so far. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'll be interested to see how it goes in front of strangers.
How did cast and crew react?
Sorry?
How did the cast and the crew react to the screenings?
They really liked it. Yeah, they really loved it. So I mean, it was a pretty warm, toasty feeling. So in the room. So um, I hope that's what other people feel about it too.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. So screening April 8th to the 15th at the Nova
That's
Cinema.
right. Yep,
And then you'll see how it goes afterwards in terms of other screenings, possibly. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll just see, I mean, it'd be great if I got a streamer, or a TV sale, we'll investigate all of that.
Okay. Did you have any particular comedy films or filmmakers or whatever in the back of your mind when you were putting together Hands Up, Who'd Like a Hug?
Yeah, look, I did. I used there's two of my favorite films that I thought about, which were the Graduate and Raising Arizona were
Mm,
two films that I think about a lot. The Graduate, it was about the cinematography, which is my favorite cinematography in any film. I just think it's so elegantly simple and just takes great points of view, and there's a lot of so many shots have got just great subtext, and they're creative, and I really wanted to do that in my film. I do that sometimes, but I found with the time constraints that there's a lot of kind of one shot setups in The Graduate, and I wanted to do it that way, but it's time consuming to get that right. And there were times when I thought I've just got to try and get coverage, because to get this scene in the can. So that just became a practical thing. But anyway, I had that in the back of my mind, that film. And Raising Arizona was more about the performance, the larger than life
mm,
performances, which I really pushed the characters to try and be, um, because it's a whimsical sort of tale, and I wanted it to be larger than life. Um, because there's quite a few scenes where you have to suspend your disbelief in this, and I wanted us to be in that kind of space the whole time.
hmm Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. I understand. So, Mick, are you planning another film at the moment?
I'm planning about 13 of them. I've got lots of scripts in my drawer. So yeah, like I said, I've been trying to get films up for a while. So I've got lots and lots of scripts. There is one in particular though that I hope to get up. And that is one that actually won a prize. Well, it's 10 years ago now, but it's more than that. So it's but I got a producer in the States out of it, and he's been trying to get that made for a long time. And we have had many near misses where it looks like it's going to happen, and we've had good directors and even a star attached to it. But again, it hasn't got across the line. So anyway, that's really the film I'd love to get made.
Well, good luck with that. Hopefully that will work out for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Hands Up, Who'd Like a Hug is screening April 8th to the 15th at the Nova Cinema as part of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and we've been speaking to the writer-director of that film, Mick Connolly. Mick, thank you so much for talking with me.
And thanks to you, Peter. Good on you.
All the best.
All
Bye-bye.
right, cheers. See you,
Bye.
mate. Bye.
Bye.